She was more than a granny. She was a lot like a mum. But this was a woman who was one of the most important people in my life.
Cass Leach lives in South Australia, but she kept in close touch with her 89-year-old grandmother in Tasmania. A fortnight ago, Cass received the devastating news that Ina Mackey had suffered a heart attack. She died days later.
That broke my heart. When somebody passes away, you're meant to be with your family. Like, I should be there with them and I can't.
Even though South Australia has reported no community transmission of coronavirus since April, Cass was told she'd have to undergo 2 weeks in quarantine if she wanted to attend her grandma's funeral in Tasmania.
Conditions were I would have to self-isolate for 14 days in a government facility at an approximate cost of $2,800. I would be allowed to attend my grandmother's funeral with the appropriate protection gear, mask and so forth.
She's baffled by the hardline stance while South Australia's border remains open to Tasmanians.
My uncle can get on a plane from Tasmania and come here, and he doesn't have to self-isolate. Why isn't that reciprocated? If he poses no risk to me, why do I pose risk to him and to Tasmania? It's incomprehensible that it doesn't work both ways.
Epidemiologically, there's no reason why the borders between Tasmania and South Australia shouldn't be open. Neither place has community transmissions.
The Tasmanian government says protecting the state remains its top priority, but those who wish to travel there can apply for an exemption or fee waiver on compassionate grounds.
I spoke to Mum on Saturday night and she passed away about 10:30 on the Sunday.
In Townsville, Adrian Stevenson was shocked to be told by Tasmanian authorities that his request to travel there couldn't be considered until just days before his mother's funeral later this month.
Being told, too bad, so sad, there's nothing you can do about it, go away, is just completely inappropriate. Transiting from one.
Today, Adrian got a phone call. He says Tasmanian officials suggested he would be approved to travel and might even be able to self-quarantine, saving thousands of dollars in hotel costs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't give up. Have the courage to go back and negotiate or try and negotiate.
The Tasmanian government told 7:30 it wouldn't comment on individual cases. Since the start of the pandemic, state borders, which once seemed mere lines on a map, have been shut down.
Australia was not meant to be closed. Australia was meant to be open, Mr. Speaker.
Tasmania isn't expected to open its borders until at least December, and Western Australia is shut off from the rest of the country indefinitely.
WA is really guarding their elimination strategy. I would say that epidemiologically there would be little risk if they opened their borders up to Northern Territorians, South Australians, Tasmanians.
Well, most of the opinion polls show that certainly in states like Queensland, Western Australia, South Australia and Tasmania, where the border restrictions have been strongest, I suppose, that the premiers are riding high, governments are being well supported. And I think that there's every prospect that the Queensland government and the West Australian government who face the electors over the next 6 months will probably benefit from the way they've been managing the pandemic.
But the tight border restrictions are causing frustration. This week, residents from the ACT were permitted back into South Australia, but not people from New South Wales.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Broken Hill, as everyone knows, it's extremely remote.
Jenny Lawrence's son Cooper goes to boarding school in Adelaide. She wants him to come home to their pastoral property near Broken Hill when school holidays start Friday week.
Be able to get you home?
Then I can't get back.
But if he does, he'll have to quarantine on his return to South Australia.
Okay, so now we're baffled. We don't know what to do. Cooper's a bush kid, and most of the bush kids, there's about 33 of them in this area. They need to come home.
Broken Hills had 2 coronavirus cases in total and no new cases since April. Jenny can apply for a quarantine exemption for her son, but it's not guaranteed.
I believe that Broken Hill should be in a bubble that's sort of associated with South Australia, because everything that we do is South Australian related. My appeal is just common sense to prevail. Our kids can't be in lockdown.
You can't be isolated in Broken Hill because people from Sydney can travel into Broken Hill, people from Broken Hill can travel into Sydney. There would be nothing worse for South Australia than to lift the border a few days early and then have a second wave.
For Cass Leach, the news she could have asked to have the quarantine cost waived has come too late for her to attend her grandmother's funeral. She thinks the system should be more sensitive to people who are dealing with grief.
To be compassionate, to have a heart, basically, and understand how much this is affecting people.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.